I first crossed paths with Josh, and I met Josh. I had taken a couple years away from the North Akron Wrestling Club, and I had come back, and Jim Zupancic was the president, and right away I took notice because Jim's son Josh was a second or third grader at that time, and I realized that it was a very competitive wrestling room, and Josh, he was the kind of kid that when he wrestled good kids at that age, very young and stuff, that he'd learn from his mistakes and learn the way kids are beating them, and they wouldn't be able to do that to him twice. You know, he would learn from it and move on, and people would have to find different ways to beat him. So I learned that at a very young age. He was very well coachable and a very hard worker. And he had a friend named Danny Sandy that used to be practice partners with him, and they practiced together probably from the second, third grade on up until they were seniors in high school.
You could always count on him. He was at every practice, every meet. He was very driven, always giving his all. And I wrestled with him from second grade on up through senior year. And I'd say most days of the week during those 11 or 12 years, I could count on him to be there beating my butt at practice, basically. But it made me a better person, and he made everyone around him better.
Bill was the person that talked David into beating Goliath. If there was a David on our wrestling team, it would be Josh. Josh was David, because Josh beat all the Goliaths out there.
Well, I mean, the main thing was Bill, and he said it many times. I mean, he wanted the easiest tournament to be, well, sectionals, districts, and the state tournament. But I mean, we wrestled probably the toughest schedules there's ever been in high school wrestling. I mean, we wrestled the Ironman and the Beast of the East out in Delaware, and then the Powerade. That was our first 3 weekends.
I think what separated him was his intelligence. He was quiet, but calculating, and he's a good 10 moves ahead of everyone he wrestled. He never gave up in a match, and that's something we all looked up to.
I'd like to thank my family, because they were at everything, pretty much high school, college that I had. I don't remember a meet they weren't at, and they certainly made it feel like what I was doing was something worthwhile. And I wouldn't have been nearly as successful without them. I certainly wouldn't be in any kind of Hall of Fame or anything like that. So I'd certainly like to thank my family for just always providing me support over the years to continue doing what I did.
People definitely underestimated Josh because of how quiet he is. He's not really that quiet when you know him, but he's very humble. And he doesn't talk about himself, and a lot of people underestimated because he was winning those one-point matches.
Well, in general, I know we had a lot of fun. We had success too. I mean, we were state champs, state runners-up as a team, but certainly had a lot of fun. I can remember one tournament we were coming back from I think it was Delaware or Maryland. But we actually did really well at the tournament. We beat a team that was ranked like third in the country or something out from Virginia. And then I remember on the way back, we stopped somewhere, and we had a coach that we told the place it was his birthday. And all I remember, I don't know what it was like a big moose or something comes out in a big hat, and he's singing a song. And he was so mad. Coach Doherty was his name. His son Nate was a state champ here. He couldn't believe it wasn't his birthday, obviously. And all the other coaches, they were having fun. I mean, it was just our team was kind of goofy, and we did stuff like that.
And I remember when I first left college wrestling, and Bill called me up, and Bill asked me if I was going to be a giver or a taker in the sport of wrestling. And it's nice to see that Josh is going to be a giver, and he's giving back to the sport of wrestling. Being such a fine wrestler and being such a good person, he's the perfect kind of coach you want to teach your young men how to wrestle.
I'd say Josh definitely embodies being a man for others. He currently, I mean, he's affecting hundreds, if not thousands, of students in Northeast Ohio, not just by coaching wrestling and working at Streetsboro, but he runs camps. He used to coach at Cleveland State, and there's a lot of kids who look up to Josh now for what he does, and it's not for a whole lot of compensation financially. He just does it out of the goodness of his heart, and I think he furthers a lot of people's lives by doing that.